and mistakes should be accepted. Unfortunately, this is not what is going on today. A very strong focus on what has to...
Wow. Did you guys see that penalty call against Arsenal?
Yeah, I saw that.
I mean,
it's all over my feed. Everyone's talking about it. It's just yeah. So what are we diving into today?
Well, we get a ton of stuff from you guys
Yeah.
about it, so we're going to take a deep dive into this whole thing, the penalty, what people are saying, what's going on with VAR, all that stuff. And we've even got some thoughts from Pierluigi Collina, which is pretty amazing.
Yeah, Collina, I mean, if anyone knows about refereeing, it's him, right? So his perspective is, well, it's got to be insightful.
Definitely. And of course, we want to hear from you guys too. Let us know how you felt watching that game, especially if you're an Arsenal fan,
Yeah, if you're an Arsenal fan, I imagine you were pretty frustrated.
to say the least.
Yeah.
So Collina had this to say, and I'm quoting here, VAR should clarify decisions, not confuse them. What do you think about that?
Oh, I mean, he's absolutely right. That's the whole point, isn't it? To make things clearer, not add to the controversy.
Exactly. I mean, when VAR was first introduced, I was like, all right, this is it. This is going to, get rid of all those bad calls, all those arguments.
I know.
Now it's like we're arguing even more.
Exactly.
And it's not just about this one incident either.
Yeah.
It feels like there's this bigger issue with how VAR is being used in the Premier League.
So for anyone who might not know, VR stands for Video Assistant Referee. They're basically like an extra set of eyes to help make sure the right call is made on things like penalties, red cards, those big moments that can change a game.
Right, and I think one of the problems is, it seems like sometimes it's not used consistently. Like one week they'll use it for something, and the next week it's a similar situation and they don't even check it.
Yeah, that's so frustrating. And speaking of frustrated, have you seen Arteta's reaction?
Oh, I saw it. I mean, unacceptable was the only word he could get out.
But there's a whole lot more he wanted to say. Oh yeah, for sure. Put yourself in his shoes, right? You're the manager, you're in this title race, and then bam, a decision like this goes against you. It's got to be infuriating.
Totally. And it's not just about the result either. It's that feeling of unfairness, like the rules aren't being applied consistently.
Exactly. And you start to wonder if the refs are biased or if they're just, making it up as they go along.
All right, so let's talk about that. Have you ever felt like you were watching a game, and maybe it wasn't even your team, but like a bad call decided the whole thing? I mean, it just makes you question the whole game, doesn't it?
It really does. I mean, the whole point of a game is that it's fair, right? Both sides have an equal chance. But when you see stuff like this, it makes you wonder.
And I think that's why people are calling for more accountability, like clearer protocols for how VAR is used. Maybe even having someone explain the decisions to the audience like they do in rugby.
Yeah, that's actually a really interesting point. In rugby, there's a dedicated video official who explains everything to the viewers at home. And I think that level of transparency could really help in football too. It wouldn't eliminate all the disagreements, but at least everyone would understand the process.
Right. And speaking of other sports, maybe the Premier League could take a page from tennis,
Right.
with a Hawkeye system.
Ah, that's a good comparison.
They show the replays on the big screen and, everyone can see how the decision was made.
Yeah, and there's that sense of objectivity because it's not just down to one person's interpretation.
Exactly.
And I think that's what it comes down to, right? It's not just about getting the call right or wrong. It's about making the process transparent so that even when a call goes against your team, you can at least understand how they arrived at that decision.
It's about building trust, even when you don't like the outcome.
Yeah, exactly. If the rules are clear, if they're applied consistently, if you can see how the decision was made, you're less likely to feel like you've been cheated, even if you disagree with the call.
So here's a question for everyone listening. Do you think more transparency would actually make you feel better about officiating, even if your team ended up on the losing end of a call?
Something to think about. Interesting.
All right, well, that's all the time we have for today. Thanks for joining us for this deep dive. Until next time.